In this video, I'm gonna be explaining you everything you need to know about Python fast. In fact, these are exactly the same techniques that my friend Sam used to land a job in Microsoft. When I got started with Python, I was struggling like anything. And you know what? I was stuck. And I was looking for a resource that can walk me through Python step by step in an easy fashion. Hi everyone, my name is Harry, and in this video, I'm gonna be breaking down Python step by step for you. If you want to join this course, I want you to like this video and drop your name in the comment sections below. It is going to be important because that way, if I have to provide you some additional material, supplement notes or any other kind of thing, I can reply you in the comments down below. I want you to like this video and drop your name and the place you belong to in the comment section as soon as possible. Before we get started with Python, I want to discuss some facts and the reasons why you should learn Python. Python is the fastest growing programming language of the modern era. In 2019, it surpassed Java in popularity, which is a big thing. Java is extremely popular language, and Java getting surpassed in terms of popularity by Python proves the fact that Python has to be good. Python is the fastest growing programming language in terms of number of jobs, in terms of popularity, in terms of usage, and in terms of its multi-purpose usage. It is used to develop web apps, it is used to develop games, it is used to develop scripting programs and whatnot. So we have got good enough reasons to learn Python. I'm not going to be wasting much of your time, so we'll go right inside my computer and we'll start coding right away. Alright, so first step that I want to take is open my Google Chrome browser. As you guys can see that I have my Google Chrome browser open. I'm going to write Python install, and what I'm actually trying to do is run Python installer and install Python for the system. I am at python.org, which is nothing but the Python official website. All you have to do is click this button called download Python 3.7.3, and Python is going to download in a matter of seconds sometimes if you have good internet speed. I'm going to wait for the installer to finish downloading. So my Python 3.7.3.exe has downloaded. I'm going to click it, and then the moment I click it, I can actually install it. I'll check this button called add Python 3.7 to path. Why am I checking this button? You have to check this button because you don't want the errors pip is not recognized or Python is not recognized. So what I'm going to do is click install now. After clicking Python 3.7 add Python 3.7 to path, I'm going to click this install now, and it's going to ask for some permissions. You'll have to give this permission. You will have to trust Python. Python is awesome. It's not going to harm you. Give it the permissions it needs. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open a new tab, and I'm going to write Visual Studio Code. Now what is this Visual Studio Code? It's an awesome IDE, and it's as awesome as it sounds. I'm going to click here and I'm going to download it for my system. I am installing Python already for Windows. If you are on Mac OS, on Linux or any other kind of OS, you'll have to download it for your operating system. Same goes for Python as well. You'll have to download it for your system. What I'm actually going to do is click on download for Windows, and it's going to download the installer for me. Visual Studio Code is something that I'm going to introduce you in a while, and yeah, you don't have to worry about anything. I'm going to teach you everything you need to learn about Visual Studio Code. So all you need to do is be in this video. Only prerequisite of this video is your time, and you'll have to spend some time to learn Python with me. So let me install this Visual Studio Code after it downloads, and let's check the status of Python setup. It will take some time. Give it its time, and it'll soon install on your system. Alright, so here we are with the setup of Visual Studio Code open. All you have to do is click next, and then you have to accept the license agreement, and you can read the license agreement if you want. And then click next, and just don't touch anything. Keep on clicking next, and all you have to do is keep everything as it is. Believe me, it's going to work. Now all you have to do is wait for some time, and let me check the Python setup, and setup was successful, and Python has been installed on your system. All you have to do now is right click on the Windows icon here, and all you have to do is click Windows PowerShell or any kind of terminal. If you are using Linux or Mac, all you have to do is type Python and wow, Python 3.7.3, and I have installed Python. I'm going to walk you through each and everything you need to know about Python, so worry not, we're going to cover everything in this video. I'm going to type exit now and I'll press enter, and let me close this. Oh my god, Visual Studio is installed. I'm excited. I'm clicking finish and let it open. Visual Studio Code has been opened. Now I'll tell you what to do after installing Visual Studio Code. Alright guys, so I have this Visual Studio Code welcome screen in front of me, and I'm going to explain everything you need to know about Visual Studio Code. I'm going to tell you about a folder opening in Visual Studio Code. Also, I'm going to tell you about the nitty-gritties of Visual Studio Code. Believe me, I'm not going to touch upon advanced concepts of Visual Studio Code, only the thing that you need to get started with Python and start developing using Python. So I have this folder open here. If you press Shift button on your keyboard and then right click, you can see this Windows PowerShell window here. You can open Windows PowerShell by clicking on this, and your Windows PowerShell will be open, and the directory will be this directory where you have opened Windows PowerShell. If you type code and you type dot, it's going to open Visual Studio Code for you. So if you enter, and I'll see my Visual Studio Code screen in a while. As you can see, I have this folder called PWH open. I'll close this folder for now and I'll open this window that I already had open. Now what I'm going to do is tell you about Visual Studio Code. You can click on open folder, or you can open a folder by shift right clicking, opening PowerShell and then typing code dot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a folder here called Python tutorials, and you can create any folder anywhere. I'm creating it here. You can create it anywhere you want. Now I'm going to press shift and I'm going to right click on open PowerShell window here. I'm going to type code dot. Let me press enter, and my Visual Studio Code has been opened on this directory. So what I'm going to do is close my previous window because I don't have any folder opened yet. You can see here you have not yet opened a folder. Let me close this. Let me maximize this. Okay, so if you see this Visual Studio Code welcome screen, you can see that they have some interactive playground, interface overview, a lot of cool stuff. You can explore it later, but in this video, I'm going to be breaking down everything that you need to know about Python. So let's jump right into it. Alright, so Python is a dynamically typed object-oriented programming language. It's a general purpose programming language and is used for web development, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and a lot of other cool stuff. If you click this button right here, you can open or close your Explorer, and here is a search button right here in Visual Studio Code. If you click this, you can either find or replace and use this. I don't use it much often, but you can use it if you want, and if you have to, then they have something called source control button. You can use Git or Mercurial or whatever version control you want to use. You can use it by clicking here. Then there is a debugger. Then there is something called extensions. Now I want you to install few extensions. The first extension I want you to install is Python. Python is an extension that is provided by Microsoft. You can see Microsoft written here, and all you have to do is download this extension. You can download it and then enable it. I have it already downloaded, so I'm just enabling it, but installing it is pretty straightforward. Is as easy as clicking this install button right here. Again, you only have to install extensions that you want to, that you like, that will enhance your programming experience. You don't want to install any other extension that you don't know what it does, or you know what it does but you are not going to use. So now I'll start by clicking here the Explorer button, and I'll close this tab. This was my extensions tab. Now I want to tell you that whenever you want to download some extension, you have to click this extensions button, and then you can type the name of the extension here, and all you have to do is click install, and it will install in no time if you have good internet connection. Now we are going to install another extension which is called Code Runner, and all you have to do is click install. I have it already installed, so all I'll do is enable it. You'll have to install it. Just click install and you'll be all good. Now you have this Code Runner installed. You'll see this button right here. All you have to do is use this button after creating a Python script. But before moving towards writing Python scripts, I want to discuss a lot of other stuff about Visual Studio Code. For example, how to create a file, how to create a directory, what to do if we get an error, how to use the extensions that we have enabled quickly, efficiently, and make the most out of them. So let us start by creating a Python script. All you have to do is click this new file button, and all you have to do is write some name.py. Now you'll have to write main.py, and you'll have to refrain from using the names of the modules as names of your program. For now, don't worry about it, just write main.py and you should be all good. Here I am seeing some of the errors from Visual Studio Code, and it's just saying that pylint is not installed. Just click install and you'll be all good. It'll do its job, and all it's going to do is install pylint for you. And pylint is nothing but a utility to let you know where your error might come when you're writing the Python script. For now, don't think much about it. Again, I'm going to click this select Python interpreter. For using Python, I'll have to tell it where my Python interpreter is, and Visual Studio Code does a very nice job by detecting this Python interpreter. All I'll do is click on this Python 3.7.3 and I should be all good. Now let's talk about Python. Python is a general purpose dynamically typed object oriented programming language. It was developed by Guido von Rossum in 1991. Now at that time, Python was not as popular as it is today. Python today is used for web development, it's used for software development, it's used for general purpose scripting, it's used in mathematics, physics, everywhere. Believe me, Python is everywhere. Now you might have a question, what can Python do for you? I'm going to very quickly show you some cool stuff that I developed using Python. The first one is the website that I developed using Python Flask module. This is a website that I created using Python, and believe me, it's a cool website. You can watch videos here and it is awesome website. Now we'll talk about something else that I created using Python, and it is a game. Yes, it is a Flappy Bird game that I want to show you. Now Flappy Bird game is something that we all have been playing, and if you haven't already played it, let me tell you, it's an awesome game. You should definitely give it a shot. So all I'll do to run this game is double clicking on this main.py, and as you can see, my Flappy Bird game is started. All I'll do now is play this game, and believe me, it's an awesome game, and it was fun developing this game using Python. I'm not going to play this game anymore. I'm just going to close it because this is a Python tutorial and we have to learn a lot of basics in this video. So I'm going to start by telling you about Python. Python is a general purpose scripting language, as I have already discussed, and it has a lot of usage, it has a lot of demand, and it is the fastest growing programming language these days. So you should consider learning Python. Now, to get started with Python, you should know what are modules in Python. I'm going to start by telling you what are modules in Python. So there will be two types of Python codes that you will execute. The first one is something that you have written, and the other code is something that somebody else or awesome folks at Python have already written for you. The first code that you are going to write on your own is something that you are going to write inside your program here, and the second code I talked about is something that you are going to import by using import statements. Now don't get scared from these statements. I'm going to tell you what these import statements are going to do. I'm going to tell you about something called module. Modules in Python is something that extend functionality of a Python program by importing script from somewhere else that somebody else has written. Now, what does this actually mean? It means that you can download scripts written by somebody else, or scripts that you have no idea how they were written, but you want to implement the functionalities of those scripts in your program. So all you have to do is use this functionality, use this utility which is called pip that ships with Python, and you have to write pip install, and all you have to do is you have to write the name of the module. I'm going to type pygame. Pygame is something that I already have installed. I'm going to type sklearn. Now sklearn is a machine learning module. It is used to develop artificial intelligence softwares and a lot of cool stuff. I'm not going to discuss sklearn here, but I just wanted to let you know what Python packages are. or what Python modules are, whatever you want to call it. So what it actually does, it will use your internet connection to download all the code that you need to have, that is from sklearn, and then you can use sklearn's code inside your program. Now there are two types of modules. Number one, built-in modules. Number two, the modules that you install using pip, or you can call it downloaded modules. Now the inbuilt modules is something that you don't have to install, and the downloaded modules is something that you have to install using this utility called pip. Now there is a possibility that you'll get an error if you did not exactly follow the procedure that I described in this video. And in all such cases, I'm going to link below the solution videos for pip errors. So you might want to check out the description or the pinned comment. In that case, all I have to do now is wait for this module to install, and I'll show you how I can import this module. At this moment, if I say import sklearn and I click this run button to run my program, I'm going to get an error for sure. But before importing sklearn, I want you to write a hello world program, and it has to be the first program in any programming language you are coding in. So module not found error, no module named sklearn. This was not our first program, as it did not went good for us. So what I'll do is write print, and you just have to follow me blindly here. I'm gonna be explaining everything that you need to know. You just have to follow me blindly for writing this program. All you have to do is write hello world, and I'm not able to spell it. Let me just save it, and when you click this run code, see, you see hello world here. So it is an awesome experience to see your first program's output, and I know you guys are very excited, and I'll be covering each and everything that you want to know to write awesome Python programs. And with this level of excitement, it would be awesome if you can hit like on this video. I'll be very happy with that. Now let us see if my module is installed or not. It's taking some time. Let it take its time. It's a big one, so typically modules will install in a minute or so, but this one was a big one, and it's already installed. So all you can do is close this terminal, or you might not want to close it, whatever the case may be. I'll just minimize it. Now I want you to know about Visual Studio Code, what Visual Studio Code can do for you. So it's saying linter Python is not installed. I'll just click install, and it'll install Python linter for me. In order to make the most out of this Visual Studio Code and your Python installation, you have to click on this gear icon. This is settings button of Visual Studio Code, and you can control and customize Visual Studio Code the way you want for yourself. I'm going to click this gear button, and you can see command palette, settings, extensions, and then keyboard shortcuts, user snippets, a bunch of options. We are going to see them one by one, and we are exactly going to look into the options that we are interested in. So click on settings. I'm going to tell you something about settings. Now you have two types of settings in Visual Studio Code, user and workspace. All you have to at this point of time is to understand that user settings is something that is same for a particular user on the system. Workspace setting is something that is common to this workspace, this folder. So if you change something for your workspace and you open another folder in your computer, you are not going to see those settings reflected there, because it is workspace specific setting. Now what I'm going to do is type code runner here, and I want you to check some options. So you have to make sure that you have to check this whether to clear previous output before each run. That way, when you click this button, your output will get all cleared. Second thing that you want to make sure is that you should have this run in terminal button checked. This is the second thing that you want your code runner to do, to clear everything from the terminal when you're running a Python script. The next thing that you want to do is save file before run. This is something that you should have checked. So that's all for Visual Studio Code. Now I'm going to create a new tutorial for Visual Studio Code, and if you want to join that tutorial, I'm going to give a link to that tutorial in the description below. So if you want a brand new fresh Visual Studio Code tutorial, let me know. I'll create it and I'll link it down below. Let me close the settings now, and all you have to do is write your Python script here, and after you write Python script here, you can click on this run button, and the moment you click on this run button, you are going to see the output here. So this was all you needed to know about Python installation. If there is something else I think is important, I'll tell you on the fly during the tutorial. Now I'm going to start the tutorial and we are going to see what Python comments are. So far we have just seen what a print statement is, but I'm going to explain you everything very nicely, what a function is and everything. But for now, just write this print hello world and get your first program running. One more note here: if you feel that you want to use some other IDE, or you want to use IDLE, which is a built-in IDE for Python, or you want to use terminal, feel free to use it, but this is the best way to write Python code. This is something that I want to let you know. Now there is something called comment in Python, so I'll write comments in Python. Now what is comment? A comment is a statement inside the Python script that you don't want Python interpreter to execute, but you want a human looking at that program to read it. What does it mean? It means that you want to tell a fellow programmer something about the script that you wrote, and you also want that fellow programmer to follow certain instructions while editing and maintaining that code base. Let me give you an example. A comment starts with a hash. Now if you write hash and you write print and you write this is not going to execute. So if I run this program, you'll see print hello world. Control/ is a shortcut for Visual Studio Code, and it's a shortcut for removing and adding comments. What I'll do is I'll just run it now, and you can see this here. If I comment it again, you'll not see this. So this is comment in Python. This was a single line comment, so I'll just write this was a single line comment. Oh my god, yeah. So now there is something called multi-line comment, and multi-line comment spans more than one line, and I'll just give you an example. If you write something inside this, I am a multi-line comment, and if I control S it and I run it, you can see that this is not executed. If I write it outside the comment block and try to run it, I'm going to get an error. It's going to tell me, what is I am a multi-line comment? It's not a valid Python program. I don't understand what it is, so I'll have to remove this. So you can write comment either using a hash, a pound symbol, or you can use this triple quotes. And if you use triple quotes, you can write multi-line comment. Let me just write, this is another line for this multi-line comment, and the spelling of comment is wrong. Let me fix it. Control S to save, and all you have to do is run your script again, and you can see that this is not going to execute whatsoever. Now what I'll do is I'll just close this terminal, and you can bring this terminal back by clicking on terminal and then new terminal, or you can see the shortcut for your terminal. It's Control Shift and a backtick, which is below the space key on Windows keyboard. You just have to press Control Shift and a backtick, and you can bring the terminal and close it back again, whatever you want. So this was comments in Python. Now there is something called variables in Python. Throughout this tutorial, I'm gonna be writing comments to let you know what I taught you at what time, and I'm going to write it sequentially. So I'm just going to write a basic print statement to let you know what Python can do, or to get started with Python, and to let you know what Python can do. So this was a point in time where I taught you what Python can do, and a basic print statement was something that we wrote. Now I'll press an enter key, and comments in Python is here. Print this was a single line comment that we wrote. Then we wrote a multi-line comment. Let me again write a multi-line comment, and I'll just write a multi-line comment. I'm doing this to make this tutorial complete, so that after finishing this tutorial, you have the source code, you have the notes at your disposal, and you can quickly revise these concepts whenever you want. So I'll just press enter key, and next topic of the discussion is Python variables. This is a very important topic, so I want you to listen to me very carefully from now. Variable is just like a container. Let me explain it using a fun analogy. You eat food in a plate or maybe in a bowl, and when you drink soup, you use a particular kind of bowl, and if you drink water, you use a particular kind of glass, and if you drink some tea or coffee, you use a particular kind of mug. Similarly, variables in Python is used to store data. Now, what does it mean? Now let us say if I write x is equal to 34. 34 is nothing but data. It is an integer. It was something I wanted to store inside x. So what I said is x is a bowl or a mug which is storing 34. So x contains 34 now. Now if I run it, nothing is going to happen. I'll just see this hello word, and that's it, because I've not done anything. What I've done so far is just said that store 34 inside this container called x. Now if I do print x here, I'm going to see 34. So let me run this and you'll see 34. So this is something that you can do inside Python. So print statement is something that we already saw. We can give strings to print, we can give int to print. This was a case where we give integer to print. So x is an integer. I'll use my pound symbol again and I'll say x is an integer. At this point, all you have to do is listen to me carefully, and once we are done with the variables, you'll be good. You'll be able to create your variables. You'll be good with knowing the types of variables and everything else you want to know. So now what I'll do is x is equal to 34, print x. I printed this number, as you saw when I click this, 34. If I close this terminal, I have this space again to write the program. That's why I'm closing the terminal again and again, because I know that I can bring my terminal up anytime I want. There is something else called a string in Python. If I say string is equal to, and I say this is Harry, or let me make H of Harry capital, and if I say string comma x, and if I say control S, you'll see this is Harry being printed on the screen and 34 after that. So I'm using my print statement to print a string and an integer. So let me control C and control V it, and I'll say string is a string. So this is a string in Python, and this is something that I created inside double quotes. Whenever you write something inside double quotes, it means that it is a string, and a string is nothing but a data type in Python. And we saw integer data type, string data type. Now I'm going to show you another data type, which is y, and the name of the variable is y. The data type's name is float, and it is used to store floating point numbers, the decimals. As you can see, I wrote 3.4, and if I print this y here, let me save it using Control S and let me run this program, and now you can see that I have this is Harry 34 and 3.4, which is nothing but a decimal point number, and I created a decimal point number, a floating point number, decimal, whatever you want to call it. This is a data type in Python, and you can quickly create as many variables as you want inside Python. So this is something that makes Python an awesome language. So now what I'm going to do is tell you some rules about variable names. We created x as a variable name, we created y as a variable name, but can I create 34 as a variable name? Oh no, I can't do that, because there are some rules that you need to follow while you are creating variables in Python. The first rule is that it must start with a letter or underscore. So I'll just say rules for creating variables in Python, and I'll just comment it because I don't want it to execute as a Python script. I'll say number 1, it must start with the letter or an underscore. The second rule is that it cannot start with a number. The third one is that it can only contain alphanumeric characters and underscore. So let me type it. It can only contain alphanumeric characters and an underscore, or an underscore, sorry, or and whatever you, if you want to create a variable that contains alphanumeric characters along with an underscore, that should also be fine. Now variable names are case sensitive. This is not rules for creating variable, but this is something that I want to let you know. Variables are case sensitive, which means that if you write string or if you write this capital S string, these are two different things. Now if I try to run this program, it's going to tell me that capital S string is nothing inside your script. Please define it, or I'm gonna be sad, I'm gonna be throwing errors. So what I'll do is I'll just make it small s, and as you saw, now if I run this program, it'll be all good. Hello world, this is Harry 34 3.4. I want you to write down a comment below telling me whether you are understanding everything or not, because if at this point of time you're not understanding all these stuff, I will recommend you to go little back and watch these concepts once again. But if you know what a variable is, if you know what a print statement is, by now you are good to go. Let us start another topic. Now let us say you are given a data type in Python and you want to know what kind of data type it is. Let us say I give you the name of this variable, I give you a string, and I ask you, hey Harry, what is string? So how will you know what data type a variable is? Let me give you an example. So if I say print string, and let us say we have let me create another variable here, string 2, and I'll say string 2 is equal to 34 or maybe 45. Let me follow the rules to create variables, because I cannot give spaces inside my variable. So if I run it, you can see that I have 45 printed on the screen. The data type was integer so far, but what if I make it a string? As you can see, it's again 45. How do you know whether the type of a variable is a string or an integer? You can use a type built-in function inside Python, and all it'll do for you is to print what type the variable is for you. So if I run this program at this point, you can see class str, but if I make it 45 integer and run it, you see class int. So I hope you can see my my terminal output. It's integer now. If I make it 3.4, it should be float. So type is a function that you can use to know which kind of variable your program has. So class float. So this is something that I wanted to let you know, and it is really very important. So we talked about the numeric types, we talked about the string type, and we'll talk about some other types in the coming time. Now I am going to tell you about operators in Python. Now let me do something. Let me create a few variables for you, and let me remove these print statements by commenting them out, because I just want to keep this code for you so that you can refer it later and you can make changes to it and make the most out of it. So I'll say welcome to Python tutorials, and let me give it a space here and I'll scroll down. Now all I'll do is I'll say a is equal to 34 and b is equal to, let us say, 3 or maybe 2. Now let me save it. If I say print and I say the sum of the value of a plus b is, and then I say a plus b, then what you'll see here is the value of a plus b is 36. So all I did was summing the values a and b. Similarly, you can press Ctrl D or whatever the shortcut in your system is. Now I'm not going to cover everything regarding Visual Studio Code in this video, because I don't want this video to go very long. Let me know in the comment sections if you want a Visual Studio Code video. You can comment, you can copy paste this line in fact, and you can make changes like this. A minus b is a minus b. Let me save it and run it again, and you can see the value of a minus b is 32. Similarly, you can do the same for a multiplied by b. So I'll use this asterisk operator, which is nothing but multiplication operator, and slash, which is nothing but division operator. So you can use arithmetic operators like this in Python. And if I run this program again, you can see the value of a multiplied by b is 68, a divided by b is 17.0. You are seeing this 0.0 because if it's 3, it's going to perform floating point division for you. The resulting value is a floating point number. So this is something that you need to know. let me press Control S. So this is how you perform arithmetic calculations in Python. There is one more operator I want to let you know is if you do A double divided by B, this will perform modulo division for you. So if I run this program, you can see that you get an integer instead of a floating point number, and if I make it 3, you'll get an integer again. So if I run it, you'll get 11 and not 11 point something. So this was all about arithmetic operators in Python. Now I want to let you know about collections in Python, a very important topic. Let me comment this out because I don't want to clutter my output window. Now all I'll do is write Python list, and let me write down the Python collection. In fact, I want to tell you about collections in Python. Collection is nothing but arrays. If you are coming from another language, there are 4 types of collections in Python. So let me write it down. There are 4 types of collections in Python. Number 1 is list. Number 2 is tuple. Number 3 is set, not sensitive, is set, and number 4 is dictionary. I'm going to be breaking down all these for you step by step. Let me write a multi-line comment here. I want to write a multi-line comment here, so I'll just write it down like this. So there are 4 types of collections in Python: list, tuple, set, dictionary. So list is nothing but it is ordered and it is changeable, and it will allow duplicate members. Now tuple is nothing but similar to list, but you cannot change the values inside a tuple. So if you want to change values, you must use list, but if you don't want to change the values, you should use a tuple. So this is where you use list and tuple. Set is nothing but unordered and unindexed, and there are no duplicates inside a set. It's similar to the set you have studied in mathematics. So set is nothing but a collection of well-defined objects which is unordered and unindexed. Now dictionary is nothing but, you have already seen a dictionary, how dictionary looks like. We have keys in a dictionary and we have values in a dictionary. If you refer to say English to Hindi dictionary, you might be interested in a word and its corresponding meaning in Hindi language. So the word that you are interested in is called key, and the value is nothing but the translation of that word in the language that you are interested in. So now I'll talk about list. I'm going to be breaking down each and every collection for you in this video. So if I say L1 is equal to, and I use this square bracket and I say 2, 343, 5, 34, this is a list. I have created a list called L1. If you move your cursor to L1, you'll see that it's telling me that this is a list. So this is Visual Studio Code's functionality. Now let me start by printing this list. My first list is here, and I'll just press a comma and I'll say L1, and I'll Control S, and you can see my first list is here, and 2, 343, 534, exactly the thing that I wrote. Now if I add another element, let us say a big one, 3, 4, 6, 3, 4, you can see that element is reflected inside the terminal. So this is the list. Now why should I use a list? The answer is we should use a list because it allows us to manage our data very nicely. So let us say if I print the first value of this list is, and I can simply say L10. Now if Python is your first programming language, let me tell you something. The index starts from 0 in computer programming languages. In most of the computer programming languages, you'll see that index starts from 0. So if you write L10, you're gonna be seeing the first element of L1. L11 will give you the second element of L1, and so on. So if I run this program, I'm gonna be seeing 2 in the output. And similarly, I can print the 6 number because index starts from 0 again. So we do counting starting from 0 in any programming language. So it 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's telling me that 5 is not there, so it's throwing me an error. So I'll have to make it 3 or something else. So if I make it 3 and run it, it'll not give me an error. It'll simply show me that the first value of this list is 34. It's not first, 1 2 3 4, so I'll just say fourth. So you can print anything you want, and this is called indexing in Python list. Now you can add an element to a list, or you can remove the element from a list. If you want to add an element to a list, you can say l1.append. So append is a function that is used to add an element to a list, and you can say, let us say 342. Now if I print L1, now if I copy this and I paste it here, and I'll say my changed first list is here, and I'll run it, you'll see that the element 342 is added, and my first list is here. The 342 was not added in L1 before. Now we have inserted this element inside L1, which is the reason we are seeing this value appended inside the list in a terminal. So this is how you can add an element to a list. You can also remove an element from a list, and if you want to remove an element from a list, you can just say pop. So if I run pop without any arguments, then let me run it. All you'll see is that the last element has been removed from the list. So this is how you use pop in Python. Now if I say l1.pop1 and I save it and run it, you'll see that I have removed element at index 1, which was 343. If I say l1.pop0, it's going to remove element at index 0 from my list. So you can see the previous list here, and you can see the new list here, and you'll see that the element has been removed at index 0 from the original list. So this was the pop function from a list. I'm gonna be showing you another interesting function, and it is remove. So all you have to do is give it a number inside the list. So if you give it 5, it's gonna remove 5. So if I print my list again, my previous list was here and my new list doesn't contain 5 now. This is because I have removed this number 5 from the list. Now you'll have to understand difference between pop and remove. Pop will take index as argument. Remove will take the value inside the list as argument. Let me comment these 2 lines because I don't want to print them anymore, and you can uncomment them if you want to print them. So you can see the first list is here and the change list is here, and you can see the change very clearly. You can see that 5 has been removed from the list. So we can have a bunch of list functions, and I want you to quickly look up the internet for more functions. I'm gonna be telling you the most common ones here. So if I say l1.clear, it's going to clear the entire list. It will empty the list. So you can see now the list is empty. So this is how you can simply remove all the elements from a list. So these were the list methods, and I want you to look up for more methods. At this point, I'm going to move towards Python tuples, because tuple is another very important data type in Python. So let's move towards tuple and try to understand what tuples are. So let me comment it down, and let me comment it off as well, and let me run this program to make sure that there is nothing else in the terminal. So I'll just comment this line also, and now I can see clearly there is nothing in the terminal except this hello world that I want here. For some reason I want to see this welcome screen, welcome to Python tutorials. So I'll just close it, and all I'll do now is tell you about tuples in Python. So now tuple is ordered and unchangeable collection. I told you already about this, and the syntax to create a tuple is this. You have to use parentheses. If I say 1 2 2, I can see this tuple here. I didn't print it, sorry. So I'll say my tuple is, and I'll simply say T2. I'll hit Control S and I'll run this program. Sorry, not T2, it was T1, my bad. Let me save it and run it again, and you can see my tuple is 1 2 2. So this is how you can actually print a tuple. Now if you try to change the value of a tuple, so let us say if you try to okay, let me tell you how to access the value of tuple first, because you might want to access the value of a tuple. So if you write print and you say the value of at index 1 is, and I'll just say T1, and I'll say 1 and I'll just save it, and if I run it, I'm going to see the value at index 1 is 2. Now let me try to change the value. Now let me try to change this value, and I'll just say t1 1 is equal to something else. Let me say is equal to 87, and if I run it, you'll see an error. You'll see tuple object does not support item assignment, which means that your interpreter is telling you that you can just access the value, the items of the tuple. You cannot change these values. That is why it is different from list. So if you see your Python linter or your Visual Studio Code, they are telling you that T1 does not support item assignment. Please refrain from changing the value of the tuple. So this is something that is important. Now I want to mention something about, let me write down, this is wrong here first. Now I want to mention something about list and tuples. So far I've added only numbers inside list and tuples. So if I create a list 2 here and I say 23, and I create another list here, and then I create a string here, this is allowed in Python. Let me print it, and the new list 2 is, you'll see that, let me control S it, and you'll see that you can clearly see the items as it is without any error if you have different data types inside your strings. So you can have different data types inside a list in Python, and I can always do the slicing. I can always say indexing, not slicing. So if I say list to 0, you can see that it's 23. If I say list to 1, I'll see 343. It's a list now, that's why you are seeing these square brackets. If I make it list to 2, let me save it, and if I run it, you'll see that the new list 2 is string, because this is something that got printed. So you can always do indexing, and it is pretty much allowed in list as well as in tuples. So you can always do this. Now once a tuple is created, you cannot add items to it. It is unchangeable. So this is something that you have to make sure. You cannot remove items from a tuple as well, because it is unchangeable. So this is something that you have to know, and it's very, very important. So this is something that was about tuples. Let me comment these lines and let me run it to make sure that there is nothing on our output window. Now our output window is clean. I'll just say set in Python. Once again, I'll tell you about sets in Python. Now set is unordered, unindexed, and it is nothing but collection of well-defined objects. So if I say my set is equal to, and if I say 1 2 34 5, and I keep on adding 1 2 repeatedly again, and if I try to print it, let me save it, and if I print it, you'll see that I can see my numbers 1 and 2 only once. I'm not seeing the repeated occurrences of 1 2 1 2. If I want that, I'll have to use list or a tuple, but since I'm creating a set using curly braces, I'm saying that remove duplicates and treat it as a set. So you can always use this curly brace to create sets in Python. Now list and tuples are the data types, are the collections that you are going to use the most. So you have to focus on the functions of list and tuples. Now you can access items inside a set. You can iterate loop through a set, that I'm going to tell you later in this video, so hang on for that. Now at this point, I'm going to tell you about dictionaries. What are dictionaries? Dictionary, as I already told you, it's a collection of key value pairs. You have to give it a key, and it will give you value corresponding to a given key. So let me say dictionary in Python. Let me make this D capital. Let me save it once again, and when I save it, I can simply say the or my dictionary, my whatever you want to name it, you can simply say is equal to, and once again curly braces, but this time you have to give it a combination of key value pairs. So if I say Harry, I can say good boy. If I say Mac, I can say bad boy. or if I say Sam key value, the value corresponding to Sam is something I'll give as only boy. No, neither good nor bad. So now if I print this dictionary, I can do that. So if I type a print statement and I say print dictionary, let me run it, and you'll see Harry good boy, Mag bad boy, Sam only boy. Now if I print dictionary and I give it Harry, it will give me the corresponding value, which is good boy. So it will just give me good boy. If I say Sam, it will give me the value corresponding to Sam, which is good boy. I have another print statement here. Let me comment it so that you can only see these values that I'm printing at this point in time. I can have another value. I can say marks, and let us say I'm having 324. Now this is something I'm making up, so you will have meaningful dictionaries in your real data set if you use it, or if you do something else with Python, you will have much more meaningful stuff out there. This is something I'm just making up just to teach you what a dictionary is. So all I'll do is type marks, and if I run it, you can see 324. So you give it a key, it will give you the corresponding value, and you can do it multiple times. You can do it as much as you want. Now you can also use .get method of a dictionary. So if I say .get marks, .get, and if I say marks, I can do that as well. There's some error. Oh, I did not close the parenthesis. So if you open this parenthesis, I close it here. If you open this parenthesis, you'll have to close it here. So let me save it and let me run it once again, and 324. So I can either use these square brackets or I can use my parenthesis, whatever I like I can use. So this was my dictionary. Now you can change the value of dictionary. It is pretty much allowed, so feel free to do something like this. Marks is equal to 09, or let me call it 34, and before changing the value of marks, the value corresponding to marks key in the dictionary, it was 324. After changing this value, you'll see it's 34. So 324, 34. So we see two different values, which means we have successfully changed the value in the dictionary. So this is very important. Alright guys, so it's time to discuss about if-else conditionals. I'm gonna remove all the print statements that I'm having on this page. So let me comment out all the print statements that I have so far, and let me run to check whether I have some extra print statements or not. I am all good. So what I'm gonna do is write if-else conditionals in Python. So let us say we have three variables, and they are a is equal to 34, b is equal to 3, and c is equal to, let us say, 12. We have these three integer variables at our disposal. Now what I'll do is I'll take another variable as input from the user, and let me tell you how to take input from the user in Python. In order to be able to take user input in Python, all you have to do is write input. So if you say d is equal to input, and inside this input you can write the prompt, enter the number. So if I say enter the number and I run this program, so it's going to give me a prompt, enter the number. And if I say 45, 45 will get stored in D, but there is a catch. The catch here is that D is a string, so you cannot add, subtract or multiply a string. So let me print type of D for you, and this is really very important. Let me tell you why this happens. So if you type something, let us say 34, the type of D is a string. The reason is that input will store the value as a string. The reason is that D is a string if we have taken it from the input function. So all you have to do is typecast it to a integer. So what is typecasting now? Typecasting is conversion of one data type to another. Now we have D, we have a string inside D, and we want to convert that string to an integer. In order to be able to do that, what I'll do is I'll use this int function, and that will try to convert the value in D to an integer. Now there is a possibility that you will not be able to convert D to an integer. I'll give you an example. So if I say some DFS is some random string, so it'll tell me that this is not a valid integer, so I cannot convert it to integer. On the other hand, if I type a number, I'll be able to successfully convert it to an integer. So if you want to convert one data type to another, you can use these int string, which is str, and float functions. So let me tell you, you can use this str function, you can use this float function, you can use this int function, and it will convert the value into string, float, and integer respectively. So if you say d is equal to int d, it will convert the value inside d to an integer, if it's possible to convert it to an integer. This is important. So if you supply a valid input to int function, it will convert your value to an integer. So this was about typecasting. I hope you get it. Now what I'll do is I'm gonna use if-else conditionals, and also I'm gonna teach you what if-else conditionals are. So let me run this program and see if I'm able to take the number as input. So what I'll do is I'll put a \n. \n is nothing but a new line character, and a new line character is nothing but a new line. So if I run it again, you'll see that I have a prompt after my enter the number line. So if I say 22, then I have 22 inside my d. Now I have 22 inside my d variable. If I print d, let me print d here. If I print d, you'll see that I have the value that I have entered. So if I enter 45 or maybe 34, you'll see 34 is getting printed. I don't know, for some reason 34 is my favorite number when it comes to typing, because it's so easy to type. If I write 65, I'm gonna be seeing 65. So this was how to take an input from the user. Now I want to be able to compare this inputted number, the number d, with other numbers that we already have in this program. So what I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna say if. Now if is a conditional statement in Python, and if I say d is greater than a, and I say colon, this is Python syntax, and I press enter, you'll see that we have this space, a tab, or 4 spaces sometimes. So this is called indentation, and if I press tab, I come one indent inside if statement. Now this indent is saying that you are inside if statement. So if I say print d is greater, greater. Now once this if statement is over, I will want to come outside the indent. As you saw in your screens, I am outside the indent now. Then I'll say else, means if d is not greater than a, I will say d is not greater. So I'll say d is not greater. Now we are using this IDE, which is adding automatic indents for us, which is good for us. But again, if you are not using an automated IDE or some other kind of utility and you are typing in Notepad, it'll be a problem for you. So you will be in problem. You will have to type your tabs manually again and again, which is not recommended and which is not convenient at all. I'll say Control S and run this program. If I say 54, it's saying D is greater because the value of A is 34 and I have inputted 54 and 54 is greater than 34. On the other hand, if I say 5, it's saying D is not greater. So these are if-else statements in Python. How it works is it'll go and check the if statement. If it's true, it'll print. It'll execute all the instructions inside the indent. It will execute all these statements that I have inside this if. So if I say print D is greater, or if I write some other if or something else inside this indent, I am gonna see them executed only if D is greater than A. And if this condition turns out to be false, I'm gonna be seeing whatever is inside my else. So I hope I broke it down nicely for you. I hope you get it now. Now you can have some other kind of logical conditions and you can use your if-else statements using these kind of logical conditions. Let me write all of them for you. So we already saw we didn't see equals, but equals is double equals, and then greater is this one, lesser than is this one, and then we have less than or equal to, which is this one, and then again we have greater than or equal to. So let me say greater than and equal to or equal to, and it's this one. Now why equals to is double equals to and not single equals to? Because single equal to in programming is assignment operator, and if you say A is equal to B, it means that whatever value is there inside B, give it to A, and it doesn't mean that A is equal to B or not. So if you want to check whether A is equal to B or not, you'll have to write double equals to. So if I say elif, so elif is else if in Python. So if I say elif and I'll have to give a condition, that's because elif takes a condition as an input. So what I'll say is D is equal to A, then it'll say D is equal. So I'm checking whether D is equal or not. So this is how you can use if, elif, and you can have as many elif statements as you want, and then at the end you can have one else, and that else will be executed only when other if or elif statements are not being executed. So let me run this program for you very fast. Let us say I enter some smaller number, let us say 4. It's saying D is not greater. How it works is it will check whether D is greater than A or not, then it will compare D with A and check the equality, and then at the end, after failing these two statements, it will come to else and print D is not greater. On the other hand, if I give the same value as 34, which is the value of A, to my D, then D is equal. So it checked if D is greater than A or not. It was not. Then it checked whether D is equal to A or not. It was, and hence it printed D is equal, and hence the output. One thing to note here is that if any of the elif statements are executed, anything after that in that ladder will not get executed. What I mean by that is if I have other elif statements here, they will not get executed if this condition is matching with the expectations. So here the expectation was whether D is equal or not, and since D was equal to A, and hence we saw D is equal on our output window. Before I move further on to loops, I want you to comment down below whether you are getting these things or not, because if you're not getting all this, you'll have to watch them once again, and if you are even getting it slightly, believe me, watch the entire video, and then once you come back and start writing some programs, it'll be all very convenient for you. Having said that, I'll move on to loops. I'll comment all these lines, and you can select and press Ctrl/, which is at the left side of your shift key on the keyboard, and once you press Ctrl/, you'll get all the lines that you selected commented. Now let me run this program and see if there is some redundant thing here. Let me type some number, and I want to get rid of this input. Let me also get rid of this int D, and I am leaving it as it is because I want you guys to have the code. So now I'll run this program, and I only have hello world and welcome to Python tutorials, which is fine. So what I'll do is I'll write loops in Python here, and I'll tell you what loops exactly are. Loop is nothing but saying repeat this this many times. So if I ask you to dance, you'll dance. If I ask you to dance again, you'll dance again. If I ask you to dance one more time, you'll say, all right, Harry, I'll dance once more. But if I keep on saying dance, 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 you'll have to do that again and again, and it will be extra work for both of us. I'll keep on saying dance, and you'll keep on dancing. So similarly, if I want something to be done a lot of times inside a computer program, I'll have to tell my computer dance this many times. I'll have to tell my computer print this many times. I'll have to give it an instruction, do this specific thing these many times. So if I say print hello, and I save it, and I want this to be done 1 2 3 4 5 times. This was pretty convenient. I was able to write hello 5 times. But what if I want this to be written 1000 times or maybe 3000 times? it'll be very difficult for me to maintain this script because it will be 3000 lines for no good reason, and it's obviously not a good idea to write a lot of same lines, repeated code inside a Python program. So how do we solve the problem? We solve the problem using loops. So what I'll do is I'll say I is equal to 0. I've done nothing new here. I've created an integer which is I, and I'm just saying that give I a value of 0. Now I'll write while. While means while this condition is true, while I is less than 10. Now I is less than 10 because I is 0. I'll say colon and give it an indent. Indent means we are inside while, just like indent meant in if statements that we were inside if statement. Similarly, this indent means that we are inside while statement. In fact, while loop, I should call it while loop and not while statement. So what I'll do is I'll say print hello and I'll put it inside this indent, and I'll get rid of all these print hellos because they don't make any sense. It doesn't make sense for us to write repeated code inside our computer programs. Also, I'll add I is equal to I plus 1. What this line is telling my interpreter is change I and make it whatever there was inside I and add 1 to it. If I was 0, make it 1. If I was 1, make it 2. If I was 3, make it 4. So my interpreter will change the value of I. Now if I run this program, it will keep on running until the value of I is less than 10. Now the interesting part comes here. There will be a time when the value of I will become 9. At this time, when it checks the condition, it will be true, but after that 10 is less than 10 is not true, which means that the loop will stop here and we'll see 10 hello statements on our screen. Let us see this in action. As you just saw, we are having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hello statements, and they are coming because of the while loop. Similarly, if you want 1000 hello, then you'll have to make I is less than 1000 as your condition of while loop. And how this works is it'll check the value of I. If it's true, it will go inside the loop. If it's false, then it will not go inside the loop, but since it's true, it'll go inside the loop, execute all the statement, come back to the loop, and then check the condition again, and we'll keep on doing this until the condition is true. So in our case, I will be 0 here, again 0, so the condition is true. Then it'll go inside and print hello, and then it'll increment the value of I. Again it will come, the value of I is 1 now, statement or the condition inside while is true again, so it will keep on executing until the value of I becomes 9, and after that it's not gonna execute the statement print hello anymore because the condition inside my while loop turned out to be false. I hope you all get it, and with this we'll move towards for loop. And for loop is another kind of loop. Now there is nothing like for loop is better than while loop or while loop is better than for loop. It's just different way of writing exactly the same thing. I want to tell you something. If you write for, Visual Studio Code will give you some suggestions, some drop downs, and if you click them, it's going to give you the snippet, and you can simply press tab and change those snippets. But I don't want you to use the snippets at this point if you are a beginner, so you write it with me. So if I say for I in range 0 to 12, this means that I will keep on going from 0 to 11, not 12. Note that I will keep on going from 0 to 11. Now I'll give it a colon, I'll press enter, and I'll say print I. This will print 0, 1, 2 up till 11. So let me comment this first, otherwise my hello will get printed 9 times. I don't want that. So let me run this, and you can see 0 to 11 is being printed on my screen. If I make it 1 to 12, I'll see 1 to 11 on my screen as you just saw, and we can change it as per our requirements. Now this is how I iterate between two values in Python. So I can comment this line. I want to tell you another usage of for loop, which is iteration of list. Let us say you have fruits as a list, and you have grapes, and then you have watermelons, and then you have let us say oranges. I don't know. Anything else you want me to type? Apples? I think this should be good. Now, if I say for fruit or item, I can choose this name. I can choose this name to be anything. Item, fruit, Harry, whatever. Item in fruits, but this is my list. This list, fruits. What I'm actually saying is I'm saying go inside fruits list and keep on iterating through all the items it has. What does it mean? If I say print item now, it'll keep on printing the items inside this fruits list for me. It'll say grapes, it'll say watermelons, it'll say oranges, it'll say apple, and we'll keep on moving. So let me run this for you, and you'll see grapes, watermelons, oranges, apples on the screen. So this is how you iterate a list. If I have a number for some reason, let us say 34, which is weird for fruits, but bear with me for now, you'll see this 34 again. So you can iterate a list using a for loop, and this is how you do it. Now, why is this useful? You might want to generate some reports based on some items in the list, and let us say you have 1,000 people's name and you want to say them hello. You can write a program to say each and every one of them hello. So if you say print item hello plus item, so if I say hello plus item, Control S to save, and if I run it, it'll say can only concatenate string to string. So this is not a string, so it's giving me error. Let me get rid of this 34, and now I can see hello grapes, hello watermelons. I should be adding a space after this. Now this looks pretty good. Hello world, welcome to Python tutorials. Hello grapes, hello watermelons, hello oranges, hello apples. Sounds pretty good to me. Now I hope you are enjoying this video. Make sure to give it a like if you're actually enjoying it, and drop me a comment. And if you're new to this channel, make sure to subscribe. Having said this, I want to tell you about break and continue statements. If I say break means stop the loop and get out of it. That's it. So if I say break, it means forget about the loop and get out of it. So it'll say, okay, for item in fruits, it'll take grapes, it'll print hello grapes, and it'll see the break statement. It'll say, okay, Python, I'm going out of the loop. It'll go out of the loop, and out of the loop is nothing. So it'll execute nothing. Let me run it for you, and you'll see only hello grapes. Now, why do we need this break statements? I can say the moment you encounter oranges, tell me that I have found oranges and break. So you can say something like if item equal to oranges, print oranges found, and then break, which means you don't have to go further in the list. So if I run this, hello world, hello grapes, hello watermelons, hello oranges, oranges found, and with this it'll break out of the loop and it'll come out of the loop. So break statement will forget about the for loop and will say, okay, get out of this loop and forget that this loop was there. Forget about it. Whatever you have done with this loop, so far so good, but if you see this break statement, you'll have to come out. So interpreter will come out of the for loop if it sees a break statement. On the other hand, there is something called continue. So if I see continue, it'll stop that iteration of the loop and it will actually come back to the next item. What does this mean? I think I confused you. Let me make it clear for you. Okay, so let me change the code to this thing. Listen to me very, very carefully, as this thing is really very important. If I say for item in fruits, it will check whether item is orange or not, and if it finds an orange, it will break, which means it will not print oranges anymore. So if I run this, you'll see hello grapes, hello watermelons, but no hello oranges, because oranges were not found. So now if instead of this break I write continue, continue means that don't forget about the loop, but forget about this particular iteration. What is this particular iteration? it's for oranges, so it will not print hello oranges for me. It will just say oranges found, so not printing, so not printing. So if I say continue, it will just go to the next iteration of the loop and forget about the present iteration of the loop. Let me run this code for you, and you can see hello watermelons. After hello watermelons, you see oranges found, so not printing hello apples. I hope this is clear for you. So if you are not able to understand this, drop me a comment and we can have a discussion in the comment section. For now, I hope most of you guys got this, and with this we'll move to the next topic. The next very important topic in Python is functions. Now what are these functions? Functions, as you guys know, is something that performs an action. Functions in our daily life is function of brain. What is the function of eyes? We say what is the function of our legs. It's used to locomote us, it's used to move us. Now functions in Python are exactly like that. You can also see functions as mathematical functions which take some value as an input and it outputs you something or performs an action. Let me show this to you. So let us say I have a function called print list. Let me run this program and check I don't have any other thing on my screen because I don't want to have cluttered stuff on my screen. I'll go to the very top and I'll define a function. So I'll say def, I'll say print list, and this is a function that I want to write. We use def keyword to define functions, and then after def we write the name of the function, and then these open close parentheses tells interpreter that you want a function to be defined. After colon you get an indent automatically using Visual Studio Code or any other IDE, and you should have this indent because if you don't have this indent, your interpreter will not know that you are inside this function. Now this function can take an input. So let us say I'm giving it list1 as an input and I want it to use this list1 to do something. So let us say I want to do for item in list1, and then I want to say print and then I want to say the value of item is colon, and then I'll press comma and then I'll call it item. That's it. The moment I run it, nothing will happen. Why? Because I haven't yet called this function. For executing the code inside the function, you have to explicitly call the function. Example, we are using this built-in function print, to which we are giving a string as an input and it's doing something for us. I hope things are getting clearer now for you. So if I come down here and I use my print list for this fruit, so if I say print list, and then if I say fruits, which is a list, it will be accepted by this function and the list1 will be fruits. So if I run this function, you can say the value of item is grapes, watermelons, oranges, apples, all is being displayed to us. This is how functions work in Python. So I hope that you know what are functions in Python by now. You can write functions with multiple arguments, and you can say something like greeting sentence. So I'm changing my print list function to take a list as well as a greeting sentence. So the greeting sentence is welcome user. Let me print items of this list for you. So this is a greeting statement that I gave print list. I'll go back to print list, and what I'll do is I'll print this greet and I'll take second argument as greet. Now this argument, whatever is given to this function, will be printed as it is by the function using this line. And list1 is the list that you supply to print list function. So if I run this, it'll print my greet string. Greet is nothing but a string, and after that you'll see the value of item is this, value of item is this, this value of item is this, and it'll keep on iterating the list. So I hope you now get the point. Now after this we'll move on to inheritance and classes and object. Now Python is an object oriented programming language, and almost everything in Python is an object. It has its own properties, exactly like we saw for list. List was a class and string is a class, and list had a lot of built-in functions associated with it, and we used a lot of them and saw how to use a list, how to use a string, and we did a lot of work. So now is the time to study about object orientation in Python. I'll make a new file and I'll make it inside this Python tutorial, and I'll just call it let me call it something oops.py. Oops is object oriented programming style, and what I'll do is I'll tell you what classes are, what an object is, and how to create a class and its methods. Before I talk about object orientation in Python, I want to touch upon the file concepts. I want to tell you about file IO. So what I'll do is I'll create a Python program called main file.py, and inside this program I'm gonna be writing some routines in order to read a file, to write a file, and we are gonna be doing a lot of cool stuff using file IO. So let me explain you everything you need to know about reading and writing to a file in Python. Now, why would you need to write to a file? Let us say you want to generate automated reports, or you want to read some data, you want to take some data as an input from a file. Then you'll have to open the file, read its content, and then you can use the content however you want. Let me show you an example of opening a file, but before opening a file we should have a file. So what I'll do is I'll make a main.txt, not to be confused with main.py, or let me call it 1.txt for simplicity's sake. So I'll right click, rename it, or press F2 on my keyboard. So what I'll do now is I'll type something. This is a file and it's line 1 of this file. Again, I'll say this is line 2 of my file. Then I'll say this is line 3 of my file, and I think this should be it. This is my sample file, and I'm gonna be use this file with my Python program main file.py. Let me save oops.py and close it, and we'll work on main file.py, wherein I'll show you how to open a file and read it. So let me write down a comment here, open a file, and what we'll do is we'll say f is equal to open, which is a function in Python which takes two arguments. The first one is the name of the file as a string, the second one the mode in which you want to open a file. So I'll open it in write mode, and I want to open it in text mode. If you want to open it in binary mode, you'll have to write WB, but since I want to open it in write mode, I want to write it as a text, I'll just say f is equal to open this. Now I've got this file pointer, and what I can do is I can easily read the content of the file, the metadata of the file. I can print the name of the file by saying that the name of this file is, and I can say f.name. And if I run this program, I can see that the name of the file is being printed in the terminal. The file is 1.txt. So this is how you print the name of the file. Again, you can print a lot of other stuff as well. You can say that whether it's closed or not, or whether in which mode is it open. So I'll say the close status of this file is, and the mode of this file is. Now if you press Alt on your keyboard and you click anywhere on the screen, you'll get a cursor. So you can get multiple cursors using Visual Studio Code. Let me run this program for you, and you can see that this file is 1.txt, and again the close status is false, and the mode of the file is W. So now what should I do? How do I write to this file? So I'll show you how to read the content of file first, and then I'll show you how to write to this file. Before writing, let me tell you how to read. So what I'll do is I will just say str is equal to, or let me call it string, I'll say f.read, and I'll print string. Now if I run this, it gives me an error because file is not readable. I'll have to open it in read mode to read the file. Now if I run this program, you can see that I have the content of this file inside this string. So this is how you read the file. Let us say I want to write to this file, and let us say I want to clear this file and write some new content inside this file. What I'll do is I'll open this file in write mode, and then after that what I'll do is I'll say f.write, and then I'll write some string. So let me do one thing. I'll comment out these 2 lines, and then I'll run f.write, and all I'll do is this is my my line 1. Okay, written by main file.py. I'll save it, I'll run it, and you can see the content is this is line 1 written by main.py. Now I want to discuss a very important thing regarding files. If you are opening a file, it is your duty to close it. So you must close the file, and you should at the end of the file pointer, wherever you are done with the file pointer, just write f.close, and once you write this f.close, your file will get closed. And this is the best practice. It is suggested as a best practice because you don't want to keep the file open. It will lock the file. You don't want to do that. You want to tell your system that yes, I am done with this file. Whatever I wanted to write, whatever I wanted to read, I am done now, and I'm closing this file because of that. So you must always close the file, which is the best practice as far as file is concerned in Python. So this is how we opened a file, read it, and then we wrote to this file 1.txt. We can also create a file. So if I say 64.txt and I run this program, you'll see that a 64.txt has been created. So if you open a file in write mode, which does not exist, you are going to create that file using this program. So there is another mode called append mode. What append mode will do is simply append to the end of the file. So all you have to do is just say A, and if you run this program, you'll see that the content of 64.txt has been changed, and the same thing has been added to it again. If you run the program again, it will again append to the end of the file. So if you run this f.write function, it's gonna append to the end of the file, and you are gonna do this on loop if you want to keep writing to this file, keeping the existing content intact. So this was all about files. Now I'll tell you about object-oriented programming in Python. So what I'll do is I'll open this oops.py file, and I'll tell you what a class is and what an object is. So class is defined as a collection of objects. It's a logical entity that has some specific attributes and methods. I'll give you an example here. If you have an employee class, then it should contain an attribute and a method like email ID, his name, his employee ID, and you can have some functions like display salary or display status, all these things. This makes it pretty easy for a programmer to deal with the data, to deal with the objects. On the other hand, it also provides code reusability. So let us write a simple class. I'll just say class employee, and then I'll say colon, and what I'll do is I'll simply say def, and after writing def, what I'll do is I'll say print name, print name, and I have this function. It will simply print the name of the employee. So I'll say the name of the employee is, and then it will print the name of the employee. Before printing the name of the employee, I should set the name of the employee, and that is done inside something called constructor. Constructor is a function that is used to initialize an object. So if you create an object and you give your employee class some arguments, they are accepted by the constructor. So let me break it down and make it easy for you. So if I say self.name is equal to name, and name, and self.salary is equal to salary, self.salary is equal to salary, and I'll say name, salary. So this init, which is a constructor, it will take one more argument, which is self, which means the object which is being created. Self is a way for us to describe the object which is being created, because there's no other way to do that. Now init self name salary. Now we have self.name is equal to name, self.salary is equal to salary. Now the name of the employee is, I'll say self.name, and I'll have another function. Let us say I'll call it def print salary, and I'll say colon, and I have another function, and I should pass self inside all my functions. This is the rule. Now there is something called static functions that I'm not discussing in this video. We'll discuss it later sometime in the Python course, but for now I'm just telling you what object orientation is. Now if I write Harry is equal to employee, and I say the name of the employee, which is Harry. And again, if I say salary is this much. Let me make it 5666, and then if I say Harry dot and I say name, or maybe print name, if I call this function, it will print the name for me, saying the name of the employee is Harry. And if I say print salary, it's gonna print the salary for me. So this is how we make okay, so I am actually copying the same thing, so I should say salary, and I should say salary plus also I should make the T capitals to make it look good. So let me do this, Control S. Now if I run this program, you can see name of the employee is Harry and the salary of the employee is 5666. I should not add these extra spaces because the spaces are already added by the Python interpreter. So now it looks good. Name of the employee is Harry, salary of the employee is 5666. You can make as many objects you want using this template. So class is nothing but a template to create objects, and it makes your code more organized and it makes it easier for you to reuse your code. Guys, hope you liked this video. Make sure to give it a thumbs up and share this video with your friends as much as possible. That way I'll be bringing more such courses for you. And if you like my one video series, comment down below which is the language you want to see next on this channel being covered as one video. I'll be waiting for your comments. Do subscribe to this channel, and I hope you have already dropped your name and the place you hail from in the comment section below. So thank you so much guys for watching this video, and I will see you next time.